Hello there, welcome to another episode of the Allotment Dram. This is a series of short videos where we sit and talk about different whiskies in the surroundings of our North London allotment. You've joined me here today on what's been an absolutely splendid afternoon, bright blue sky, sunshine, nice and warm really for this time of the year. A little bit blustery, it's really started to bring down the leaves off the trees, but other than that, really can't complain, to be honest. And today I'm actually going to do something a little bit different. I am going to talk about a whiskey, as I normally do, but also I'm going to talk about something else whiskey related. So this will be something that I do maybe a little bit more in the future as well, so I hope you enjoy it. And today my subject is the Ardbeg Committee, and what is it, how does it work, and what are the benefits. So the Ardbeg Committee is really, in very simple terms, a fan club for people that love Ardbeg single malt. The famous Islay distillery, very well known amongst whisky circles, and particularly smoky whisky circles. So I would say you can join even if you're not necessarily a fan of Ardbeg, but if you are a fan of smoky whisky, definitely, and probably just whiskey in general. I mean, it's one of the biggest clubs that is out there, and there's a lot of benefits to doing it. It's actually free to join. I'll put the link, it's ardbeg.com. You just head to there, find the section on the Ardbeg Committee, and you can join for free, and then obviously you can take it from there. But the club was actually founded on the 1st of January 2000, so right at the turn of the millennium, and it was really to celebrate the rebirth of Ardbeg, because Ardbeg in the 1980s and most of the 1990s had really struggled. It was struggling to survive, and it was closed for long periods of time, but actually even when it wasn't closed, it wasn't operating at full capacity. It was literally sort of a few weeks here and there to keep things ticking over. So actually, maturing stock from that time is particularly rare, and if you find it, then it will be quite expensive as well. But then in 1997, Moët Hennessy sort of started up the distillery again. They took it over, renovated it, started it really back onto the path of success where we see it now, like 25 years later. So if you'd spoken to anyone about Ardbeg 25 years ago, it certainly wouldn't have been the conversation that you're having now. And part of that obviously was to have the capacity and to create a core range down the track when they had the stock, but also part of it was to create this sort of fan club, which is the Ardbeg Committee. So it's been around for over 20 years now, and really has done things in a very innovative and creative way, very different to, not so much now, but you think 20 odd years ago, very different in terms of the marketing to what you would find then, definitely. And really has been the envy of a lot of other whiskey companies, to the point where there's now quite a few that have sort of copied a similar idea. But what can I tell you about the club? As I say, it's free to join. You go to ardbeg.com and just follow the sort of track there, and just literally fill in your details. You don't have to sort of pay anything at all. What it does to be a member, it gives you go onto the mailing list, and it gives you then a heads up of what is happening at Ardbeg, and head up for events, particularly things like the Ardbeg Day, which happens normally the end of May, start of June, the end of the Islay Festival. It's always Ardbeg Day, the last day of the Islay Festival, Fegil. And so there's lots of events around that. There's things going on at the various Ardbeg embassies, which have been created at various retailers around the world. But probably the main thing is to give you the heads up about forthcoming Ardbeg Committee exclusive bottlings, of which I've got one to taste here. And the one that I've selected is the Ardbeg 8 years old, and it's called For Discussion. And the reason I've chosen this one is that there's been many sort of legendary iconic releases for Ardbeg Committee members sort of over the years. But the reason I've chosen this 8-year-old for discussion is actually, unlike most of the others which sell out, you know, very quickly indeed, you know, you're lucky to get a bottle, and normally I'm sure Ardbeg won't mind me saying, but their website normally crashes. But this one's actually still available, even though it came out last year. They found another small pocket of stock which they've put out for sale. So I could sit here and taste like any of the previous ones that we've got at home, but there didn't seem much point in doing that to, you know, essentially something you can't get unless you go to an auction site and pay, you know, a lot of money. But you know, so I thought we'd try this one, and you know, this really, they gave quite minimal information about this. You know, other than the strength, the age, obviously 8 years old, the strength is 50.8%, the cask of bourbon cask, but other than that, not really too much information, really, so that committee members would discuss and talk about the whisky amongst themselves. And you know, there's a few sort of clues here. It says on the front, excuse me while I read this, you know, I can memorise lots of things, but I couldn't memorise all of this. So it says, it has been proposed that there is 1, an unmistakable smoky Ardbeg intensity, 2, a strong whiff of charcoal and creosote, and 3, curious hints of something vegetal like fennel and celery mixed with wood smoke. Discuss ... So I think without further ado, I should probably have a little taste of this. And as I say, if you like the sound of it, then, you know, sign up to the Ardbeg Committee for free. You can then grab your bottle, and of course then, you know, when it's gone, it's gone. I've even dug out my little Ardbeg glass. I don't know if you can see that, it's got the little Ardbeg symbol, which I was very lucky to pick up when I actually went to Ardbeg one of the times. So it's well worth a visit if you're ever on Islay. You know, it's a bit of a pilgrimage really to go to Ardbeg and see what's going on there. So what have we got here? As I say, 50.8%, lovely bright golden yellow colour there, very, very nice, and very smoky straight away. You can, it's lifting out of the glass. Yeah, and these are just going to be quick tasting notes. I'm not going to go into as much depth as I normally do, but yeah, lovely sort of, it said creosote on the thing, which, you know, for those of you that are not in the UK and don't know what creosote is, it's that stuff that you paint on the fence to preserve the woods, or the fence panelling, and it smells like sort of quite medicinal, almost like bitumen or tarmac, something like that. But yeah, underneath there's like biscuity quality, definitely something quite vegetal, again like it said on there, something quite green. I'd say probably seaweed or something like that, but also some vanilla. So let's have a little taste. Now that's quite punchy. See, the strength is just over 50%. But what that does, it really elevates all of those aromas that we had on the nose, really elevates them, and it's like turning the dial up a little bit in terms of flavour. So you've got that sort of, it's a little bit more ashy, the smoke now. It's got an earthiness to it. It's got that creosote sort of fence paint quality. But also a bit of sort of mossiness, a bit of that seaweed, a bit of that greenness to it. But underneath is this really quite intense sort of biscuity, malty quality. A bit of honey and golden syrup as well. But very, very nice. So if you like the sound of that, I would say, you know, grab a bottle before it's gone. You know, join the committee, and you know, you can take it from there. And there'll be other releases obviously coming out sort of in time. But hopefully that's explained a bit about what the Ardbeg Committee is, and hope you like the sound of that. The 8 years old for discussion as well. But I think with that, I'll probably leave you to get on. I've got 1 or 2 more jobs to do here at the allotment before I leave for the day. So let you get on with whatever you were doing before you found this video, and hopefully we'll see you again for another Allotment Dram very soon. So from myself and the Ardbeg 8 years old for discussion, we will bid you farewell. Cheers.